And I pray to God they find out who killed Maggie. I pray to God. That's my prayer.
Investigators looking for a killer. 31-year-old counselor and coach at Discovery High School from Ohio.
She was in there laying down. I didn't even want to touch her. She alive or dead?
She was a real nice person.
Breaking news in the manhunt for the murderer of a beautiful teacher from North Carolina as cops release this photo from surveillance video. You're going to see it in a second, taken just hours before somebody murdered Maggie Daniels. We are now learning about an ominous tweet telling Maggie to be careful of a mystery neighbor. Are cops any closer to finding this beautiful teacher's killer? Cops say the stunning 31-year-old who had once been named Teacher of the Year was found dead in her apartment a week and a half ago. Police were called out for a damage to property visit. While they're working that case, friends and neighbors rush over and tell them, hey, we think Maggie's dead in her apartment. Listen to this 911 call.
One of my friends is in the apartment, and I think she's been in here for like a day. She just was in there laying down. I didn't even want to touch her. She alive or dead? Do we know that much? I'm not sure at all. They're going to go in there. It shook me up when I seen it.
All right. Now we're learning that just last year, Maggie tweeted a text a friend sent her saying, quote, be careful with your neighbor you mentioned. I would really encourage you to take a self-defense class, end quote. So was a neighbor stalking and plotting to kill this beautiful teacher the whole time? Or was somebody else obsessed with her? I want to go to my very special guest, Maggie Daniels, the dead woman's dear friend, Judson Terrell. Thank you so much for joining us, Judson. You just heard that,
You're welcome.
That tweet. She tweeted out a warning that somebody sent her saying, hey, you're worried about a neighbor. You better take a self-defense class or do something to protect yourself. What do you make of it? Because you and your wife have spent a lot of time with her, and she was one of your dearest friends.
Yeah, I saw that. There's been a lot of speculation going around about a lot of different things. We knew Maggie very well. My wife knew her whole life. They grew up together up in Lakewood, Ohio. They happened to move down to the same small town and teach school in the same town and didn't even realize it. They just have such a neat history. But we saw that, and, it's easy. Everything you hear, you just want to jump on it and read it and take it for what it is, and we all want closure. But
let
anyway,
me ask you this, Judson. Did she ever say, I'm worried about somebody in my building, a neighbor who's bugging me? Huh?
The answer is easily no. She never expressed that to us whatsoever. I was a little surprised when I saw that. Maggie is not typically the type of person that would express any concern like that. She's usually very upbeat. She was always very positive, uplifting. She wanted you to feel good. She wasn't really worried about. And, if she had had an issue like that, I don't know if it's something that maybe when she first moved into the complex, there was somebody that she didn't feel comfortable about. And maybe just as time passed, it went away. But, we're not sure. Well,
something happened to her that's very serious. So I think we have to look at that. And I think that's a very important piece of evidence. Now, let's look at the new timeline of events. This past Friday, Maggie is last seen by the apartment complex's janitor and a former student visiting his girlfriend in the same complex. They both said everything appeared fine. She was taking out the trash. A couple of hours later, Maggie is seen at a Walmart with a friend. Later that night, Maggie's friend said they had plans, but Maggie stood her up and never even picked up the phone. So maybe something terrible happened on Friday night, it looks like. Then Saturday morning at 9:07 in the morning, cops respond to a reported damage to property inside the complex. 10:37, neighbors race up to the cops and alert them to an unresponsive female in the apartment. So John Lusich, criminal investigator, what do you make of that tweet? And what do you make of the timeline?
Well, we got to see if there's any credence to the creep. That's number one. And the timeline is very crucial here. It also has to take a look at is that property damage related to this event in any way? Was that property, because it wasn't specific about what that property damage was. Did somebody break in somewhere prior to this body being found? I mean, the fact that she wrote to someone in an email and expressed concern about an individual and they wrote back to her is troubling and something the cops need to do. But right now what the cops are going to do is canvass everybody, talk to everybody in the neighborhood,
let me jump in because we're tight on time. Judson, I know you want to mention something about her character that she was absolutely squeaky clean. She never did drugs. She didn't drink. Tell us very briefly. We only have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, anybody that knows her, when she came into my life and through my wife, I honestly felt blessed because she was just such a positive attitude, and she helped me even in a lot of ways and doesn't realize it. And, you know, it really saddens me that I'll never get to tell her that. But I just, you know, I want everybody out there to know that didn't know Maggie that she was definitely an angel on earth, and she loved children. And that is really her top priority, was to help the children.